Welcome back to another episode of MMA Breakdowns and Bets. As always, I'm Santino DeFranco. You guys all know me. Brandon Olivas is not here anymore. He has decided he is done. That's a wrap. Him, the podcast, betting, he's out. So I've got a special guest today. It is the UFC's own King, Casey O'Neill. She is going to join me, break down all of the main fights, especially since there's 225-pound women's bouts on the card, one of them a champion. And then Della, Maddalena, who comes from, who's Australian, which is where she is from. We're going to go over the full main card. All of the undercard fights I will break down and put them on the Patreon for all of you so that you guys have the full card here, all the undercard fights on the Patreon. Check out the show notes for the link and check out the show notes for King Casey's social as well. So go follow her. She's going to be putting up her own breakdown on her YouTube channel herself. So follow her, check it out. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. All right, we are going. We're recording. I don't know what happened to you. There you are. There you are.
It asked me to add a hand gesture. I shouldn't have put I'll just keep my thumbs where they are.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
So you do not look like Brandon, or you have a wig on or something. Like you.
I look a lot better.
You look a lot better. You look a lot better. I don't know what Brandon was doing.
It's not saying much, but I'll take it.
One step up from zero is still up from zero. You guys didn't believe us, but Brandon is gone. He is not doing the podcast anymore. He wanted to retire. Yeah, he just like that. I said, well, what do you mean you don't want to do the podcast anymore? He's like, well, he's like, it's too much work. It's too stressful. I want to go do stuff. I don't want to have to be on vacation watching film. And so here we are. So I've replaced Brandon.
The ripe age of 28 years old.
Yeah, 28. So we have, for you guys, I'm sure you all know, this is UFC's King, Casey O'Neill, who is joining us today. And it's a good day for her to join us and talk fights because who's our main event fighter?
Well, we got Della fighting for the belt. We got him playing in the background right now.
I love it.
Another Aussie boy bringing home a belt. So I'm super excited.
And then on the co-main in the middle fight, we've got 4 125-pounders who are in your division. I actually want to get your take on each of them and who you want to fight out of them. If you're going to.
I want to fight them all, but are we going to rank?
We're going to go. We're
going to rank.
We'll get to that later. Then we've got a couple early fights that I don't think anybody cares about. We've got José Aldo and Aiemann Zahabi. And then we've got Brad Katona against a Kazakhstanian fighter, Bekzat. What is his name? Bekzat. Oh, man. Bekzat Almakhan, who is owned one in the UFC, but his only loss was to Nurmagomedov, Umar. So it was a decision. I mean, Umar's Umar. So I don't know why he's not. He was in the running for the belt for a bit. And then
Umar, he fought for the belt, didn't he?
Yeah, no. Oh, you're right. Yeah. He did. He fought Merab.
Merab made him look human. So, yeah. Forgettable fight for Umar, for sure.
Right?
That fight, yes.
I wonder who he'll fight next, because Sean is fighting for the belt again.
Can I just say, before we move past that I hate that? I hate that they're having Sean fight for the belt again next.
Why?
I feel like he is one of the biggest stars in the UFC right now that needs stars, and I feel like they're killing him off because I don't really see that fight going any differently, in my opinion. So.
Now, does it change anything knowing that he had I think it was a labrum in his hip when the fight happened, or do you think everything stays the same?
I do think that probably made that first camp really, really hard, but Sean has great striking. He looks very exciting against anybody who'll stand and trade with him. Merab is someone who will shoot 500 times just to take you down once. He just won't stop. So I mean, you've always got a puncher's chance, right, with Sean. He can get some sort of crazy knockout at any point during the fight. But unless he does, I see Merab just being a blanket and just laying on top of him. The way that Merab does, he just keeps shooting. Look at him versus José Aldo. He was just non-stop in that fight. So, and I think his striking is getting better. Him versus Umar, he was winning those stand-up exchanges. So he's definitely getting better.
his striking, it's not even that you have to respect his striking. His striking lands because you have to respect his wrestling so much. And you
Mhm.
know he's going to pressure and you know he's going to do stuff. And then all of a sudden he's punching you in the face when you're like, hey, you should be on my legs. And
Mhm.
then,
I
so
mean,
I'm curious.
he has the confidence too of the person who won the last fight, and he's just gonna go in there and take it to him. So I don't know if I love it. I feel like if Sean loses again, I feel like his star power goes down like quite a bit. And I feel like if they had built him back up and given him a couple of other fights, they could have kept him as one of the bigger names. And I don't know. I'm just thinking about it on a
No, I
business
like it.
side of things.
I
So
think he's probably one of the biggest stars right now. I mean,
for
John Jones is
sure.
probably going to retire. Outside of
hmm
John Jones, who can transcend MMA into regular people life?
I mean, we've kind of lost Izzy
Yep.
now as well. Uh,
Connor's off playing politician, doing coke line
Connor, I
somewhere. She
think
said,
Connor
like,
deep down wants to fight, but I just don't think he has it in him anymore.
do you think he'll ever fight again?
I don't see him getting straight again. Like I think that he has a lot of things going on in his personal life and he's like become like too big for himself almost, you know? So Connor is hilarious and I love following his social media. And prime Conor McGregor in the UFC was like a great time for the UFC, but I just think that he might have moved too far past it. He might be too far gone.
I think yeah.
But I think we're about to see another big star this weekend. So
Man, I hope so. We'll get to that in a minute. What are you up to these days? When are we going to see you back in? Tell all these fine people what you're up to, and
well, I haven't actually even said this publicly yet, so
well, you don't have to say what.
sad
No,
breaking
no,
news, but
no, don't.
unfortunately, I have been injured for the last couple of months, so it's the finish line is in sight though. I'm back in hopefully about a month. A couple weeks I'll be back in the gym at least, and I've already started doing a little bit of training, but yeah, just been on the road to recovery, which has been super unfortunate because I feel like I just built a little bit of momentum and then got taken away.
The
So I'm
breaks.
in Vegas, unfortunately, back in Vegas, hanging out at the PI every day, getting free treatment. Life is very hard for me over here. So, but yeah,
Now, when you do come back, do you want to jump right in the top 10, or do you want a warm up? I mean, not like you even get to choose. Like, Mick chooses, the
right.
matchmakers choose. We have no say in anything. People think we have
hmm
any sort of power. It's like fight who we tell you to fight, pretty much. If it were up to you, would you want I don't know if there are tune-up fights in the UFC, but would you want an unranked girl who isn't somebody that you know is going to be a top 5 fighter right off the bat, or do you want to go jump in with the Sharks and just ride?
So I'm still a little bit torn on that question because the first time I got injured and spent a long time off, I went and jumped straight back in the deep end. And, that was my first ever loss. I do think that was a little bit more mental than physical. And I think I'm in a lot better of a place now. So I'm still like kind of tossing with the ideas of what I want to come back and who I want to fight. Obviously, there's a lot of fights to play out right now, whilst I'm coming back, but not bottom of the barrel. I don't want to fight bottom of the barrel. Possibly somebody, just above me or someone who's looking to break into the rankings would be cool. I think I'm like number 13 right now. So if that changes before I get back, who knows what they're going to do, but maybe like 11, 11 to 15 sort of area or something like that.
Okay. Not the women's fight from last weekend.
Definitely not,
Juliana Miller, the loser of Juliana Miller, Ivana Petrovic.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say anything bad, but in the UFC with a record of 4-3, like overall UFC record, I'm like, man, how the hell did you even get in? Like, I feel like I know that's probably terrible.
Yeah.
Sue me, I don't care. But 4-3 is back in the day, you wouldn't have even gotten in. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think she got in off the Ultimate Fighter,
She
and I
did,
think
she
just
did, yeah. And can
two
I
and
just
one or
say
something
that I
crazy.
actually really like her as a person too. She's a very nice
Okay.
person, but I just think she's very green in MMA overall as a whole. I think she had 3 fights altogether when she got into the Ultimate Fighter. So, that's not a lot of
It's just not a
experience to
lot.
be coming off. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, let's get into this week's main card. What is it? UFC 315.
UFC
We've got
315.
5 fights. Jack Della is headlining. That's my man crush too. That's my
hmm
MMA crush. Like I'm man. I hope he can pull it off. We'll get to the breakdown in a minute. You guys, I mentioned it earlier. I am going to put all of the undercard on the Patreon, so you guys will have access to all of that. All of you guys who are on there, go to the Patreon. Link is in the notes. And let's get into this card. Brad Katona is fighting Bekzat Almakhan, and Katana's 14-4. Bezcat is 11-2, and his only fight in the UFC is against Umar. And then Brad Katona, we've seen do a couple of stints in the UFC now. Our guy Hunter Azure actually fought Brad back in the day and beat him in Vancouver for, I think it was Hunter's UFC debut.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Do you have anything to say about these two before I go?
I mean, I've seen Brad Katona fight before, so nothing super exciting to write home about, but it is a great story that he, was in The Ultimate Fighter twice, first person to win it twice, all that cool stuff. But I am going to go against him because the other guy does sound scarier.
Just
And
say his name.
can you say it one more time before I sing it?
It's Bezcat.
Bezcat. And like you said, his only losses to Umar. That's a really tough fight to, come into the UFC and debut against someone like Umar Nurmagomedov. So I'll take him for
Okay.
the upset.
It's weird. Brad is really good, has really good fight IQ. He does a lot of jittery stuff. Like there's a lot of busy movement. He's in, he's out, he's high, he's low, he's all over the place. And then he'll kind of blitz in. He's got the really good step in elbows that'll crash in, good step in knees that he'll blitz. The issue with Katana is that he gets hit all the time. Like if you watch, who was his last fight? Who was Katana's last fight? I'm gonna pull it up.
I do think he also plays it safe a little bit, right? So anybody who takes it to him is.
Oh, is Gene Masimoto. And if you watch, every time they would exchange, everything that Katana does comes wide and then it loops in and he like reaches and arches. And Matsumoto is just right down the middle. And if Matsumoto threw a punch backwards, blind, drunk in a pond, he would hit Brad Katana in the face because Katana is just the most hittable human ever. And he'll throw and then he just stands there and then he opens up. Everything that he does is big and wide and his face is in there. So he's very hittable and he can get hurt. I like his ability to close the distance. I like his volume. I like his cardio. I just think he's super hittable. And then on the other side of that, we have Bezcat, who I don't think is a world beater. And his striking is good and he hits hard. And he's winging big overhands, which I don't know if that's going to be the best way to beat Katana because Katana can slide right underneath and grab and clinch. What I don't like about Bezcat is his defensive wrestling. People grab a single leg all the time, and he just leaves his leg there. He just leaves it floating. And in his last fight before the UFC, he would just leave his leg floating again and again and again. And the guy who was fighting would just pull him off the cage, trip him back, probably 3 or 4 times, and he never adjusted and just kept getting taken down. And then when we saw him against Umar, he just played guard the whole time as well. I think this fight is
a Kazakhstani that can't wrestle.
He can wrestle. He can wrestle. He has a good sprawl. He will do some stuff well. He actually hurt Umar in the first 30 seconds of their fight, and then Umar shot and he sprawled really well. Umar chained it down, and then that was that. The issue, though, is I think this is going to be he hurts, like, does he do big punches and damage versus, like, the volume and the cage control of Katana. I'm super torn on this one. I'm going to go Bezcat as well for honestly nothing more than I think it's a really close fight. I'm not overly sold on Bezcat, but Brad Katana finds a way to lose those close split decision fights. And we saw him lose against Garrett Armfield. We saw him lose against who did he lose to for that? He beat Jesse Butler, he beat Cody Gibson, and then he lost to Garrett Armfield and he lost to Gene Matsumoto. And those are Gene Matsumoto is really good. And Garrett Armfield is, I would say, pretty good. But when he fights better people, he tends to lose. And so I'm going to go probably Bezcat by decision. And let's see the odds really quickly before we are out of here. Brad Katana is plus 158 and Bezcat is minus 183. So I think it's probably lined somewhat correctly. All right, moving along onto our next fight that is going to be boring. I don't know why this is. I mean, I get it. Jose Aldo is Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is fighting Aiemann Zahabi. Everyone wants to talk about Aldo's age, but Zahabi is also an oldie as well, which 36 isn't old, not in man years, but in fighting years it is. And Jose Aldo is 38. Aiemann is 36. And then the odds on this little guy, I actually think are kind of crazy that they're this far of a spread. Where is Jose Aldo's minus 220 and Aiemann is plus 185? Who do you got in this?
I mean, I think I have Jose Aldo. I know that he is getting older, but he has looked, he has still looked fast. He's still got very, very dangerous striking. He's still got crazy leg kicks. It's just the Jose Aldo that decides to show up these days. His defensive wrestling has always been great, but is he happy to just stay on the cage the entire 15 minutes and, wait it out? Or is he going to break off and is he going to strike? I don't think Aiemann Zahabi is that dangerous, but I could be underestimating him. As you said, the line is very far apart. Are people just taking Jose Aldo for the namesake, or are people doing their research? So I think Jose Aldo will win, but I do think it'll be closer than people are giving credit for. I think, for us, Zahabi obviously is an amazing MMA coach and an amazing grappler, and I think it's his brother, right?
Yeah.
Aiemann is his brother, so they've obviously done their homework, and I'm sure they're got a great game plan. So I think it'll be closer, but I still think Jose Aldo will have the experience edge, and I just think he'll perform better in the fight. I hope.
I hope so. I hope so. But you said it's which Aldo shows up, and the thing with Aldo recently is I went back and watched a Jonathan Martinez fight, and that I remember both Brandon and I were huge on Aldo for that, and he was, I think, a sizable underdog in that fight. And the issue though is Martinez is not a great boxer; he's a great kicker, and so he kicks, and Aldo's checking all the kicks, and then but the issue that I have with Aldo, even in that fight, is he's just standing there. He's just standing there, and if Martinez wanted to go to him, he's like, cool. And he's not pressing, he's not backing up. He's just right there. And he's willing to fight on those terms. And I think he wants to. He does not want to push the pace. He does not want to go chase somebody down or move or do. He's just, I'm going to stand here, be as efficient with my energy as I can. And but even in that, I think he got a little tired in that third round. I mean, the clinching, the pushing, and even let Martinez push, like you said, push him against the fence a little bit. And then we saw with the Mario Bautista fight where he's literally just being pushed. And we saw that with Merab as well. And we know Merab is Merab, but if Jonathan Martinez can push him against the fence and Mario Bautista can push him against the fence, then it kind of seems like he's just willing to stay on the fence. Like,
For sure.
I don't know if he can get off or not. In Zahabi, it just looks awkward. He doesn't look great. He doesn't look good, but he does have a really good jab. And he has I think in a phone booth, I think Zahabi loses to every boxer on the planet in MMA that's just punching. But with distance, he actually controls the range really well. He's really long, and he's going to touch on the outside and then move away, and touch on the outside and move away. We've seen that with Javid Basharat, and then we saw that in his last fight with Pedro Munoz, who he did have a good reach advantage over, which he's not going to have the same reach advantage over Aldo as he did there. But I was with you. I was like, oh man, Aldo's going to murder Aiemann Zahabi. Like, this isn't even going to be a thing. And as I was finishing up watching that Martinez fight, I think the opposite. I think Aldo is so happy to just sit there and stand there because he doesn't want to get tired, that I think I can see Zahabi just touching him and moving. And then anytime Aldo really tries to go in and do stuff, I think Zahabi's just going to clinch him and hang on and steal moments, push him against the fence, and then touch and move. Like you said, his brother's really smart. His brother's going to have a great game plan. And the game plan is not going to be trade leg kicks or box with, at least box in the pocket with Aldo. I think Zahabi's going to win. I think he's going to win a boring decision. If Aldo wins, I think it's going to be because of body work. Zahabi covers really high and he shells up really high, and Aldo loves body work. And I think if Aldo is going to win, I think he's got the Aldo of now. The Aldo of 10 years ago, he wakes up, he drinks a beer, and he goes and beats Zahabi. the Aldo now, I think he's got to press and he's got to make Zahabi uncomfortable and attack the body. So I think Zahabi's going to win, and it's going to make me sad.
I mean, I think that Jose Aldo might be feeling a little bit disrespected, though. Look how far down the ladder he's fallen.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out there like the Jose Aldo of old. Maybe he doesn't have the same stamina. He's maybe only got, a round or two of it in him. Like you said in the Jonathan Martinez fight, he gassed himself out, but his leg kicks were still fast, sharp, accurate, strong. They were hurting him the whole fight. So I think Aiemann Zahabi's going to try and fight behind a jab, and Jose Aldo's going to, kick his legs out. Like you said, throw some of those body punches, and it's just going to be like who's tough enough. Is
Yeah.
Aiemann going to be able to crash in the distance? Is Jose Aldo going to be the Jose Aldo of old with the dirty boxing, the knees, the low kicks, the body work? I really hope we see that.
I hope so.
Turn back the clock.
Yeah, I'll be up there. We'll be up there. Eddie and I leave this week for Korean Tiger. So I'm
he's
gonna go.
fighting on the card. I
Yeah,
didn't
he's
even.
fighting. He finally he got rebooked and then rebooked, and
Yeah.
then he was supposed to fight Tucker. No, Gavin Tucker.
I saw
And then
Gavin
that fight
Tucker
got
pulled out. Yeah.
He got an injury, and now he's fighting Willie Cat, Daniel Santos. So I think he's a 35 or moving up to 45 for this fight. Yeah, so I'll be up there.
Are you excited to be in Montreal?
I actually like Montreal.
Yeah?
It's one of my favorite cities. I think it's one of the coolest cities. I've been up there numerous times for fights. Yeah, I can't wait to go up there.
So, fun fact for you on Montreal. When I turned 18, I actually thought that TriStar would be the gym that I would move to and
Oh, really?
fight out of. And I bought a one-way ticket there, and less than a month later, I was on a ticket home back to
Really?
Australia
It wasn't what you
because
thought?
Montreal was just not for me.
Really?
Yeah, it just was not for me. I don't know if it's because I went during the winter months, but
Oh,
Montreal was not for me.
Montreal's the coldest I've ever been in my life was in Montreal. I was up there
Right.
cornering, and it was like, I don't know, we'll say like -6 degrees or something like that, but the wind chill was like -30. We were downtown without like a car, so we are like having to walk to restaurants and walk around. It's the coldest I've ever been in my life, by far.
That
And I've
was
been to
actually me too. So the day I decided I was leaving and booking a flight, I was walking to the grocery store, which I'd been doing like a couple times every week or whatever. And on the walk back, I decided this is it. I'm leaving. It was so
done.
cold. The wind was blasting me in the face, and I just was
I would wear a
freezing.
scarf, like
Yeah.
we're bundled up in a scarf, and by the time you'd get from one place to the next, the scarf would be frozen. It would
Yeah.
actually be frozen stiff from your breath.
I'm sure
freezing
it builds toughness, but it's just I'm tough enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
All right. Well, next up on this card, what do we? Oh, we've got the women. We have former champion Alexa Grasso fighting Natália Silva, who, man, pre-UFC, she looked fine. And then, she lost to Marina Rodriguez. She's got some losses early in her career. What do we have? 5 losses. And then she went on a tear when she got in the UFC. Beat up Jasmine. Like, honestly, she's kind of beaten up everybody. And I was saying it recently. I would like to actually see Natália Silva and Manon Fiorot, who's fighting for the title, just stylistically and movement-wise. I mean, they're both karate, in, out, all over the place. That's a fight I would like to see. But she's fighting Alexa Grasso, who is so good in some areas. And then we just saw her in that last fight just get out-wrestled and have zero answer for it whatsoever. Who do you got on this? And then after you say who wins, let me give you the odds on this. Alexa Grasso is +185 and Natália is -220. And then afterwards, I want to know. Actually, I'll get to who you want to fight.
Okay. This is actually a really, really tough one for me to pick. I think both girls are pretty good in a division of girls that I don't think are that great, if you know what I mean. I think that
Yeah.
Alexa, as you said, she was the former champion now, just lost to Valentina in a very, one-sided fight. But I think hearing her talk after that fight, she also said that the belt was so much pressure, she feels so much better and everything like that. And you hear a lot of people talk about that. So Is she going to come back and be that same hungry contender again, or is she happy now that she's won the belt once and she's just fighting for money at this point? But it is a very weird clash of styles with such a strong boxer for Alexa and then a very strong kicker for Natália. I think Natália has great footwork and she's really good at fighting, with her back right up against the fence where you think she would be in trouble. She does well there. And I think that both of them are much more counter strikers than they are, they are going first. They're more counter strikers. So I'm excited to see what both of them bring into this fight. And I do think that we could possibly see Alexa try and take Natália down and beat her on the ground because the holes that I've seen in Natalia's game were on the ground. If I don't know if you remember that fight with Teresa Bleda that she
Yes.
had. She was in a lot of trouble there I think it was the end of the first round. She was in a triangle, I think, and then an armbar got switched off and she made a lot of pretty basic mistakes in the jiu-jitsu, like letting herself sort of get swept over and two arms in. Just basic things that you learn on the first day of jiu-jitsu. She didn't seem to have. I don't know if that was UFC debut nerves and stuff like that, but this is a really big test for her. Definitely her biggest test so far, so it's gonna be interesting to see how she shows up, but I am still going to take Alexa. I think that as long as she, stays in Natalia's face, she's got the stronger boxing and she's got the stronger grappling, in my opinion. She just can't stay in that B range where she'll just get kicked and move, kick and move. So she's got to cut her off against the fence.
Yeah, I think you said it. She can't be in that middle range,
Mhm.
and I think that's going to be hard for her because just movement wise, she is a good boxer, but you said she's a counter puncher. She
Mhm.
doesn't come in and press and go. And so you have Natalia Silva who's fighting off the back foot where she wants to be. And Alexa is fighting off of her. I'm assuming the fight is going to be Natalia on her back foot moving around, kick, move, punch, move. And Alexa stalking her down and going, but that's not Alexa's strong point. And so then I wonder like how does her boxing look when she's chasing somebody versus being a little bit more planted or even backing up? And then more so, like you said, I think in a jiu-jitsu match, I think Alexa would probably submit her 100 times to 0. But does she get her there? Because Alexa's takedowns
Do we
have never.
see a Valentina 2.0 with a
I
spinning
know.
back kick? Because I can see it happening. Natália likes to throw those, wild kicks, the side kicks and the spinning back kicks. And I think that if Alexa is to get her down, it's off one of those kicks for
I
sure.
I think you're right 100%. And I think Alexa talks about how much film she watched for that Valentina, the first fight. And I'm curious
Mhm.
what happened in that second fight.
I
Training
still
camp.
thought she won the second fight. I know it came out as a draw. I was actually at that fight live. I
Yeah.
really did think that Alexa won that fight. I know I was in the minority, but not a lot of things happened, and the
Yeah.
bigger moments were definitely Alexa's moments with the knees. I know they were
Yep.
controversial as well with the hand down. There was a couple of moments that were just very, very big Alexa moments, and I couldn't tell you a single moment that was a big Valentina moment in
Yeah.
that fight. So
And then
I
in the
know,
third one, we saw her
yeah,
just get taken down. I mean, that was
right,
just, I
right.
guess that's what I was talking about. It was more the third one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I assume that she's going to be watching film on Natalia, that she's going to have something, an answer for that, like she did with the Valentina with the spinning kicks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't, I think if they're just out there sparring and fighting, I think Natalia wins. I think,
I think so if it's a point fight, but is she
yeah,
going to force Natália to go first?
yeah, and
Is she
that's what
just
I'm
going to
wondering.
stand in the middle of the cage and force Natália to go first? I can see that. So I think Alexa's a lot smarter than her last fight. I think she's got a great camp as well. Francisco Grasso and Diego Lopez are very good coaches for her. I think she's got a very good, dynamic with them as well. And I do think it's a really big jumping competition for Natalia Silva.
It's
So
true. Yeah, who
it's
has Natalia fought last? All right,
her,
let's see.
Jessica Andrade was her last fight, I'm sure. I
Jessica
think.
Andrade,
Yeah.
Viviane Araújo, Andrea Lee,
The
Victor.
Viviane Araújo is actually not a bad win for her. I didn't
Yeah, no,
realize
that's
she'd
that's a
fought.
good one.
Yeah.
Um, Tracy Cortez is fighting Viviani
I saw
in
that
June.
International Fight
Yes,
Week. Yeah.
International Fight Week. She's always
Yeah.
on International Fight Week. They always
Yeah.
put her on International Fight Week or Noche.
I mean,
That's it.
it's great. It's close to home. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean travel for you. Not like me getting sent to Australia. I'm very
Oh,
sorry about all that, but
but if we had gone the second time, you probably would not be injured.
right.
So we can blame me.
We live to fight another day. We will never be getting injured again.
I'll go with you on Alexa. I'll go with you on
Right.
Alexa. I think I think her level of competition is infinitely better. I think
Mhm.
she fought a really tough Valentina. I think she's going to have fits with Natália on the outside as she's moving and going. But Natalia's not starching people either. And I
Mhm.
think at some point they've got to fight. And I think at some point Alexa's going to get her hands on her and her fists on her and I think beat her up a little bit. So I'm with it. I'll go with it. Let's go for the upset. Alexa by decision, or
Mhm.
do you
I
think
take
it's
her by decision. I think she's a longer fighter. 5 rounds, then I would definitely be taking Alexa, but she seems to be someone who gets better as the fight goes, so we'll go decision.
and she's got a couple of good wins. Even I mean, she beat Macy Barber, who's always
Right.
solid. Joanne Wood, um, I mean, has her moments.
Not solid.
And then she's got Vivi as well. She fought Viviani,
Right.
and then Valentina, of course, 3 times. And
And
just
not
at
to mention, she's been fighting since she was a kid in Invicta. I'm sure she was in
oh,
Invicta. You know, she came into the UFC as a strawweight. She's made it up to flyweight. She kind of has finally found her groove, I feel like, and become well-rounded. So, like you said, experience is definitely on Alexa's side
yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
yeah, and all that 5 round experience fighting for titles, like that does
Mhm.
something to you. And
Mhm.
the issue though, and you said it, is like the pressure of the belt was getting to her.
Mhm.
Wonder what that does to her. Does she still want to fight? And
Right.
that's a big thing. Is like, do you still want to fight her? I mean, hey, look, you have your whole life to reach a goal. You reach the goal. You're a UFC champion. You make all the money, and then some people are just out. Do not
Mhm.
want to keep fighting. Like they have a goal. I reach the goal. We're done.
Right.
Uh, and if that's the case, who knows what we see?
I mean, not to last thing I'll say, but she just broke her foot as well, as
Oh, did she?
from what I can remember. I'm pretty sure she broke her foot post Valentina 3. So that's something as well. She's definitely thought about the
Yeah.
fighting thing since she's been sitting out injured. So maybe the hunger is back.
Hopefully. Hopefully it is. Next up, we've got Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot. Valentina is
They're
plus
back
one.
to back.
Yes.
Back to back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, before we even do
People
this.
will be taking really, really long toilet breaks.
Yes.
That's a lot of toilet breaks in a
A
row.
lot. So you've got Alexa and Natalia Silva, and
Right.
you get to choose one of them to fight for the title.
Mhm.
Who are you fighting and why?
I mean, I'm fighting Natália
Okay.
because does she have the title or are we both fighting for the
No,
first
no,
time?
you're fighting for the shot to fight for the title.
Okay. I'm fighting Natália. I think I think both are good fights for me, but I think the Natália fight is really good for me. I think I do really good at cutting people off the on the cage, and I think I have really good cage wrestling and ground and pound, and I think I've gotten away from that in my last couple fights, but it's definitely something I've been working to bring back. So I see myself going out there fighting Natalia, crowding the kicks, taking her down and finishing with some ground and pound. Like I said, she does make a few mistakes on the ground from what I see jiu-jitsu basics. So I see myself getting a good position and just elbowing her in the head,
Dropping some elbows.
basically. Yeah, just hitting the Donkey Kong double punches and everything. Everyone screaming my name because it'll be in a place where people like me finally, hopefully.
As long
Um,
as it's not in Perth.
yeah. Well, actually, Houston was the place that hated me. So
Oh, really?
yeah, they were the ones who booed me. I'm not sure if you
Who'd you fight
remember. That was
in
pre-Santino KC
who was
link
that?
up.
Who'd you fight there?
That was Roxanne Modafferi.
Oh,
And I know everyone says, "Oh, it's just for Roxanne," but I'm a girl. I take things personally, so that was, on me. So
all right. So you're fighting Natalia, and now you're waiting to see who you're fighting for the title. and that's Valentina Shevchenko, and that's Manon Fiorot. Who are you going to be fighting? Because who wins this?
Okay, so this one I think is pretty easy, and I think that Valentina's going to beat Manon. And that's pretty much how I could leave it, but I will elaborate on it a little bit. I think that Manon is a very, very big flyweight. She's huge. I think she has really good kicks, but I don't actually think that her kicks or movement are as good as Natália Silva's. I think that out of the two of them, she's the slower one. And I think that comes from cutting a lot of weight. So I think that in the first round, she's good at moving. She's got good kicks. She's got strong kicks, but you really see her slow down in fights. The Erin Blanchfield fight, that was a decision. Everybody was sitting around saying that Manon was going to maul Erin. And she was even saying it. She said, I'm going to kill this girl. I'm going to maul her. Erin was there the whole time. In the third round, I'm pretty sure Erin won that last round. You know, she would crowd her against the cage, as I said, and she was actually landing big punches. She just didn't have the strength to take Manon down because Manon is very big and very physical. I think Valentina definitely has the strength to take her down. I think Valentina has a really good body lock. I think she has a really good crucifix on the ground. I think when she gets on top of you on the ground, she's really strong. And she's also someone who like doesn't care about the crowd, doesn't care about anything like that. Like she will lay on Manon for 25 minutes if that's what it takes to win her belt. She's a veteran. She doesn't care if you're going to boo her. She's not going to stand up. She's not going to get drawn into a firefight with Manon just because of the crowd. I think she's going to take her down every single round and lay on top of her. That's genuinely how I see this fight going.
Now, do you think she can close the distance and get a hold of her?
I definitely think she can.
Okay.
I really think she can. I think that Manon's sidekick is, I mean, it's just a kick. Like, I don't think it's this amazing secret weapon that Valentina's never seen before.
No, I
think
think
that
you're right. I think it's a very annoying foot
it's a
jab.
rangefinder.
Yeah.
It's a rangefinder. Like you said, it's a jab. Like, you can crowd a jab. Everybody's taught basics Muay Thai 101 to pass through some sort of teep kick, to grab a teep kick, to push off a teep kick. Like, this is not new things for Valentina. Everybody who goes in to fight Valentina says that they have this thing and that's what they're going to use to win, and few people have done it. And I think I don't see Manon being the person. So
No, I'm with you. Manon has to have a perfect 25 minutes to win this fight, and it's got to be touch and run, touch and run, touch and run, because she's not knocking people out. She is big and physical, man. Like she looks strong as shit. Girls try to take her down, and they're just being pushed off. But yeah, like I don't know. Outside of just jab and move, whereas Valentina could hurt you. She could push you against the fence. She could actually outstrike you. And then she can out wrestle you and ground upon the shit out of you. She has very good jujitsu.
right.
Um,
She's very well rounded.
yeah.
I don't think people give her enough credit, but she's someone who can take the fight where her opponent is the weakest and win there. She's done
And,
that time and time again.
yeah, and she's a smart fighter.
Right.
She knows how to win rounds. And honestly, I feel like the judges like her. I think she's won some rounds against some fighters that I don't think she won.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about what she does there in the moment with the crowd and the people that judges are scoring stuff for her.
Right.
She's busy. It's funny because she's busy and active, but as boring as shit sometimes too. In the same moment, like she'll do just enough to score and not get stood up and to bother people, but not actually enough to try to finish a fight. And
Right.
then, yeah, we saw. I mean, Alexa kind of got a Hail Mary back take submission,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Well, like she said, she'd practiced it for a long time. So I think that it was just, a mistake from someone who doesn't make a lot of mistakes. But
I shouldn't say Hail Mary. Like
yeah,
it's probably never going to happen again.
right.
She did some. It's Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas trained forever to beat Mike Tyson. That was the thing, and he did it. And then he never had that same success afterwards. That was his medal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I
His
think
Mount Everest. Mm-hmm.
yes, and I think Alexa did that. I think she beautifully executed a game plan. I don't know if anyone is ever going to Valentina's not going to slip on 2 banana peels.
I do think that Valentina is not the same Valentina that she once was. I think she's 38 years old. I don't know if you have it in front of you,
Let me see.
but she's definitely getting up there in age.
She's 37.
37. But the good news is Manon is 36 or 35. She's also up there.
Yeah, she's 35 as well. She
Yeah,
doesn't have the
so
mileage on her.
right.
So she doesn't have the mileage, and she
But
still
she also doesn't have the experience. And that's where I think she's been someone who's been able to win a lot of fights by being big and being able to, hit and run, very point style karate fighting. But I do see her get tired in pretty much every single fight she's had that's gone longer than 2 rounds. This is 5 rounds. What has she done differently to make sure that her body is prepared to go 5 rounds fighting backwards? People who haven't fought, won't know this, but fighting on the back foot is a lot more tiresome than fighting on the front foot.
Oh my gosh.
So whether you're being offensive or defensive on it, going backwards the entire time is damn tiring. And with someone like Valentina in front of you, just constantly coming at you, that's going to be even more tiring for her, and I think she hasn't fought a very strong wrestler in the UFC yet. She claims Erin Blanchfield was the strongest wrestler in 25 when I was watching the countdown the other day. Erin has great jiu-jitsu. She's never been known to be a wrestler or have the physicality of taking someone down.
Well, Tracy fought her in Invicta and beat her by wrestling. Like that was, Tracy taking her down, and Erin was a jiu-jitsu girl at the time. Like that was her thing, was she was like winning these jiu-jitsu at Bravo invitationals and stuff like that. And she was very good at jiu-jitsu, but yeah, she definitely is not
she's a small girl and she doesn't have the wrestling, and she's very, very good at jiu-jitsu. I do think she has great jiu-jitsu, but she
has good ground and pound. If she gets on top, and her cage wrestling is getting better, and she's very good, and but she's not who I would say, like, I would not say, oh, Erin's a wrestler.
Right. So I see a decision from Valentina. I do not see a finish. I don't think Manon has the power, and I think that Valentina of late doesn't seem to have the instinct of the finish, if you know what I mean. She's very happy to coast it and to fight at her pace and to be safe. She's very good at staying safe. Like, she's very good at mitigating damage or just any sort of scary situations for her. She's very good at controlling a fight. So I see her standing there forcing Manon to, get a little reckless and get a little crazy, and she's going to shoot. She's going to take her down. She's going to lay on top of her. She's going to do it again every single round. And then in the 5th round, everybody's going to be like, yep, Casey was right. And we should get her back on the podcast every week. That's what they're going to say.
All right. Well, we've got the main event, Jack Della, our favorite fighter. He is fighting Belal Muhammad. 25 minutes in Montreal, main event, world title fight. I know you're going with Jack Della.
No, I'm actually going to go with Belal on this one. So.
Okay. So Belal is minus 205 and Jack Della is plus 175. Right. So tell us how this fight plays out.
Right. So I have a big admiration for Jack Della.
Okay.
He is someone that I'm sure you didn't know where I was going with that, but he's somebody that in the regional circuit in Australia, we fought on the same card often. We were champions on the same card, fighting on the same night. So I've managed to see him through like a lot of seasons in his career, and there's always been something special about him. Like, always been something special, whether it's the work ethic or just like the anomaly that is Jack being able to make it where he is from where he's from. So Australia's a big country, but Australia MMA is a small little pool of people. And most people are sort of over on this side. You got the Gold Coast, you got Sydney over here. He's over here. Nobody from Perth has really, did it before Jack. Now we've got Steve Ursig, obviously. We've got a few more people, but Jack always had something special. He always had the work ethic, and he's always had a great relationship with Ben Vickers, who's his head coach, who I know really well as well. I just want to see them do well. Like, I feel like I'm so emotional towards this fight. It almost feels like it's like me fighting or like something that crazy.
Yeah.
So Don't sit here and put all your money where I tell you to put it for this one, because I'm going to say first round knockout. He's going to be the man. Montreal's going to go crazy. That's what I want to see from him. But the realist in me knows that he's probably going to have to survive a couple of tough rounds with, wrestling. I think Belal has great wrestling. I think people really underestimate Belal because he is one of those people who is not a more boring fighter, but I guess that's what people would say. He's definitely, takes you down, wins,
He's not a
secures
flashy
rounds.
guy.
No, he secures rounds. He doesn't really have power. I think he TKO'd Sean Brady. I can't remember any other finish that he really has in terms of striking, but he's apparently the best boxer in the UFC. He says he's Canelo, so let's see if he comes out there and stands with Jack. I think if he does stand with Jack, Jack's got amazing boxing. Jack has amazing head movement. The way that Jack works the body, he comes up and down. The way he does that is it's like fluid. It's like perfect the way he does it. So I think that Bilal is definitely going to shoot. I think he's making up the Canelo stuff. I don't see him standing with him. But I do think he might be underestimating Jack's scramble ability. I'm not saying he has great jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying he has great wrestling. I'm saying he's a great scrambler. I don't know why I'm struggling to talk now, but he's a great scrambler. You saw it with Gilbert Burns. You saw it with Basil Hafez or whatever that guy's name was. You see it in every single fight. He basically scaled the wall versus Gilbert with a broken arm. Gilbert, everybody knows Gilbert for jiu-jitsu. One of the best jiu-jitsu people in MMA, and he was able to get up and get a finish from there. I want to see him do it. I think he will do it. I think he'll get a fourth round TKO. That's what I'm predicting. KO, TKO, something like that. And I can see it already, and I'm gonna cry for sure.
All
I
right.
definitely will cry. And please, if you say Bilal, I will get off this podcast. I'm just kidding.
Bilal, and we're
Yeah,
done.
we're done.
No, I actually think. No, I'm actually with you on the Jack Della train. And initially, I wasn't. Then I went back and watched the. I went back and watched the Bilal fight, and then I went back with Leon, and then I went back and watched Leon in his last fight. And what's going on is Leon isn't engaging. He's so reactive now, and he's such a counter fighter that he's letting Bilal just push him back and do whatever he wanted, put him right on the cage, and then go. And then he's waiting for some perfect moment. We have a guy at our gym who's a beautiful kickboxer and just waits and waits and waits, and we're always yelling at him, go first, go. Quit waiting, quit waiting. And then people will land strikes on him who are nowhere near as good as him because they just decide to go. And they'll feint, and he's trying to pull the trigger, and then the timing's off, and then he's getting hit by guys who are lesser than him. And that's what I saw with Leon, and we saw that in his last two fights. And so now I'm looking at Bilal and Leon a little bit differently. I mean, it's very impressive because Leon, man, again, Leon against Kamaru, I think was amazing. I think that was defend, throw. But Usman's not as fast and spry as he used to be a few years ago either. So I think Jack, who you said it, his
And
box.
also, he also lost that first Kamaru Usman fight for 24 minutes and 47 seconds. He lost every single second of that fight until the head kick. He definitely did better in the second fight around, but that first fight, he was being out-grappled, and he was doing exactly what you said. He was docile and happy to just lay there and lose rounds. And I think, to Leon's credit, he's always been a great striker. He's never been known as a good grappler, and he fought Sean Brady, who has amazing MMA jiu-jitsu, some of the best, I think. He fought Belal, great wrestler. He fought Kamaru, great wrestler. And he was going to fight Jack. That was the original fight for Jack. So that was going to be an amazing fight. I was very excited for that. And I'm even more excited for this one. Sorry to interrupt. Just had to throw that in there. So.
No, I love it. I like Jack. I think is going to actually go out there and fight and go out there and try to win the fight. And he mixes up his body work and he throws. And you're right. We saw him in one of his early UFC fights against Evaziv. What is it? Gosh, what was
the
his
Russian
name?
one? The Russian guy he fought.
Amiv,
Yeah.
Ramazan Amiv. and he was scrambling in that, get thrown in darce, and he's got a good Granby. Like you said, he's a good scrambler. He moves,
Mhm.
he wiggles, he scrambles, he knows how to get up. He has good cardio. He works the body. He's super fluid. I think I'm going with Jack Della with TKO, but I think he's got
I
to do
love
it.
how you just say everybody's name just a slightly bit wrong,
That's
just in
how
the
everyone Brandon
Santino's
always used
way.
to say that. Everyone he's like, "It's
Yeah,
Jack Della," and I'm like,
Jack
"Dude,
Della, yeah.
I'll say it
Yeah.
how I say it," and that's how
So his
it's
actual name is Giacomo. I'm not sure if you're aware of that fact.
Giacomo. That
Giacomo. Yep,
gosh, it
the
makes him even
Italian
cooler.
descent. So they call him Don Giacomo, so that is his full name, and if he wins the belt on Saturday, I want him to go back to using that.
Oh, I hope he
Just full
does.
time. Yeah.
I think he can win it. I think he's got to do it early. I think if the fight wears on, I think Belal is just going to be on him too
Mhm.
much. Uh, but yeah, Bilal's not a finisher. I mean, he's not a
Yeah, I think
finisher.
differently. I think that Belal is going to take him down early and there's going to be the scrambles. And I think he's going to get lulled into a false sense of wrestling security. And I think he's going to get caught late in the third or early in the fourth on a shot. I see him getting
Okay,
caught with either an uppercut or a knee. And I see the finish coming off of that. I think I can see Jack doing that. So,
I
I
hope
mean,
so.
look at the knee against Gilbert when
Yes.
Gilbert reshot in as he came
Yep.
up. He's really good at looking for that. He's really good at like spatial awareness in fighting. Even before the UFC, there's a knockout. I think the guy's name was Alden Bates, and he fought him on Eternal, which is my dad's promotion in Australia. The way he pulled out and landed his counter right hand, like after an insane fight. If you watch that fight, it's insane for about 7 minutes until he lands that
Okay.
right hand. So just his spatial awareness, knowing where he is, I think he's really good at being able to come in and
Is
out, come
Eternal
in and out.
on Fight Pass?
It is on Fight Pass,
You guys go
yes.
on Fight Pass.
Yes.
Go to
Watch
Eternal
all of Jack
MMA.
Della's
Watch all of Jack Della's
professional
fights.
fights. They're all on there. So
Yes,
he
all on
fought
Fight
for
Pass beforehand, so you
Eternal
know
coming
exactly
up.
what you're getting. And
And you
watch
might
all of
even
her
get to
dad's
see
promotion.
me. You might even get to see me on there. So you might even hear me commentating on there. I was also doing that. So women of many talents, lots of hats in the closet.
There you go. Until you're
Not to
back
make
in.
this about me or
Yeah.
anything, but God forbid.
All right, you guys, that's it. UFC 315. Those are our picks. Go to the Patreon. I'll put all of my UFC picks on this week, and then you will also find all of the undercard breakdowns on the Patreon as well. We'll see you later. King Casey, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. It was fun.
Can't wait to see you back in the gym.
Let us know in the comments down below if you want to see me replace and be the new co-host. Santino might get sick of me in about 3 weeks, but we could give it our best.
I don't think I'm
I
lasting 3 weeks.
promise to do more research next time as well. This was kind of a fast one. So
Yeah, this was last
yeah.
minute. Well, our
Yeah.
dear producer, Camuela, who's not here, I said,
Yeah.
hey, find me some co-hosts to do stuff. And he's like, oh, I talked to Casey. And I was like, all right, we're in. So,
Did he tell you that I actually told him no, but
no.
then told you yes? Yeah.
Did you? What did he say to that?
Oh, just thought he just didn't even
He
bother
was
with
just like,
it. He
whatever.
was just like, whatever. Yeah.
I didn't know that at all. So, all right,
But
guys, have a good one. Casey, thanks for coming on. And we'll see you guys next time.